I don't know if we'll get there today, but I have the list pulled up of stuff we have to say to Freddie in the underworld. And it's going to be made at runtime, so I'm going to point it out to you now. Just so if we get there, you're not super caught unawares. The first dialogue option, you have to choose, what will I do without you, or I can't, I won't.
Okay.
And then you have to say, I'd give up anything to bring you back. And then you say, I need you to live whatever they cost.
Okay.
If Freddie sings, it was quick and so was I, we fucked up and you got to kill the game, otherwise the save will be fucked up.
Okay.
So if that does happen, you hit this button, and then you go to the game on the bottom thing here, and then you push. And then options, and then you close it.
Okay.
Otherwise, the save would happen.
Yeah.
Alright, we're back. It's time to do stuff.
I don't think we're gonna get there today, because we still have to do the stuff where we talk to the Minotaur and...
Yeah. I don't think so either. I just am being proactive.
So we do have to talk to Pan.
You can talk to Pan, you can talk to Freddie, you can talk to Persephone.
Let's do Pan, and then Persephone, and then probably we'll save Freddie for last. Save the best for last.
Of course.
I just realized I didn't know if I put the Steam lock on the...
I can check that while you're dealing with this. Make sure our kitchen doesn't explode.
Yeah.
I'd say hello, Grace, but I'm afraid that look on your face might be catching.
What is this place?
It's a garden, darling. Surely even mortals have them.
This building. All those people I pass getting up here. Are they all idols?
Oh, at least some of them. Welcome to Olympus, dear Grace. Our home hidden away in plain sight. Marvelous, isn't it?
You think they're going for like a Percy Jackson idea there, that like different floors of this place? They're like, oh, there's like the Roman version of me.
Maybe.
There's ye old I'm trying to give a Norse god that's not Loki.
Thor.
Well, yeah, not
Odin.
Yeah, okay, Odin.
Freya,
that's right. I was trying to think of Chariot Cat Lady.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I've passed this part of the city 100 times. I've never seen this building. Was it always here, or...?
Our Lady Hecate provides glamours that allow certain things to go unseen, such as my glorious horns. Olympus is the same. Those invited see it. Those who aren't see exactly what they expect. It's not anywhere as grand as in the old country, but it serves its purpose.
Was it literally a mountain?
Right. This is it
I
grand?
don't know, Pan. Olympus seems pretty grand to me.
As if
He's like, you're
mortals
poor.
would know any
I
better.
can tell. It reeks
This
off
isn't the
of
first
you.
time
Right.
you've been here. I'm sure Hermes took you to Athena's dreary office.
That's here? Huh.
Oh,
Good one,
fuck.
that Hermes.
The owl's here?
Is she
Almost as
here?
dull-witted as the original, but biddable.
Biddable. How many idols are there?
How many idols are there? I've met, less than 12?
Oh, I don't know, 20, 30. Our numbers have dwindled so much I've stopped keeping track.
I didn't know there were that many gods.
Grace, are you
We're not all
okay?
equally legendary.
Grace, where were you for your
Some
whole life
idols
that
were
you don't
barely
know all
worshipped, others
this?
not at all. Indeed, not all of us are idols. Some are merely immortal. Hangers-on, if you will. You'll meet them all, given time.
Most of you live together?
Idols live
Looking
here?
at Gizmo.
I mean,
debating if she
Calliope
should be
didn't,
naughty or not.
obviously. Apollo doesn't either.
One must have special dispensation from Our Lady of Wisdom, Athena, before they can take up a private dung heap like Apollo's.
Am I gonna have to give him my apartment?
That's rather putting the cart before the horse, darling. First, you must outlive the week.
Yeah, first we gotta make sure that
Good
I'm
point.
proven innocent.
You asked me to meet you here?
I did. Though I feared you might decline, considering your rather callous rejection earlier. Regardless, my pride is intact, as is the favor you owe me, which I now wish to collect.
Okay.
He's like, booty call!
I was expecting
Oh,
this.
sure. I'm totally in a position to help others right now.
What if he was like, can you
Lay it
pick
on
up
me.
my wine?
Here's the thing.
That's not a big deal.
friend has begged for my help, and you're far better suited than I to offer what he requires. I'll give you a key to reach the reliquary where he resides. You help him, and then we're even. If that's not enough incentive, the reliquary is also where you'll find the lovely Hecate.
I can't remember if he warns
A
us that,
sorceress of
like,
her
she could
power
just,
can
like,
aid your quest.
turn us into goo.
What do you
Hmm.
say?
Would she really help?
This Hecate, do you think she could help me?
If she's of a mind. She is the goddess of dark magic, the creator of all our marvelous glamours. If anyone can help you, it is she.
And if she's not of a mind?
Then she won't help you. Grace, that part is up to you. I can't
He's
expect
like,
you to
I don't
do
know what to tell
everything,
you.
can I?
What's a
What is this
reliquary?
reliquary? Doesn't that have something to do with the bones of saints or something?
That is normally.
Those relics. Our relics. The relics of ancient gods. Magical treasures collected over thousands of years. Books, mainly.
Like,
We store them
I
in a
don't
faraway
know.
place.
I
so no
think
one
this part could really
unsavory
just
can
be
get
punched
their
up. It doesn't have to be
hands on
music. Maybe like crickets
Unsavory,
chirping or
like
something. Like he's in like a terrarium, kind of, you know.
Unsavory like most. Athena has decreed that these relics are not to be used by any save Hecate and herself. A rather dull waste of so much amassed knowledge and power, but who am I to judge? I'm not leader of the chorus.
I lost sound for a sec. It's back.
Oh. Is it
If
dangerous?
these relics are off limits, does that mean they're dangerous?
Some, but I'm not asking you to chase after any of that nonsense. In fact, I'd advise against it.
But what if one of those relics could help me?
My, such an adventurer you are. It's possible, but ask Hecate first. She, and I mean this.
I
with
mean, we're already
complete
wanted
and
for murder.
Yeah.
You might as well
seriousness.
steal an item if it could help
Yeah.
Not
us.
an idol you or
Well, I
anyone
think
wishes to
Hecate is like
cross.
not bound by most rules, right? Because she's magical.
Yeah.
This person I'm to help, what does he want? And why can't you do it?
Well, Grace, there are some things you're better equipped to handle than I. This, as I understand it, is a delicate matter of the heart. One that requires a muse's
Beauty
hand.
and the Beast, if you will.
A matter of the heart.
What, did you think I was sending you to rough someone up? Set something aflame? Don't
It would be
absurd.
really funny if
The
he
man
was like,
has an
now I need you to
issue with his
really
love
murder
life.
someone.
Even if I
Right.
can't help him, I'll treat the effort as worth the favor.
That's it?
So that's it? Fix up someone's love life? Nothing trickier than that?
Oh,
That
the
can be
way
pretty
you talk,
that can be
Grace.
pretty hard.
Yeah,
Makes me
yeah.
blush.
You ever watched
It's
like
just
Desperate
I
Housewives,
trade in
Grace?
willing favors, Grace. If I didn't, no one would want to do as I ask, and then where would I be? I may seem untrustworthy, but allow me to reassure you. If I wish you harm, you will walk into that
We
harm
need a-
knowingly and with open
Pan
arms.
spin-off game of him doing something truly fucked up.
Uh-huh.
No, we're not flirting with you.
Yeah, no. Is that what happened to
What about
Calliope?
Calliope? Did she walk into harm knowingly and with open arms?
You tell me. I could deny it, of course, but if you choose not to believe anything I say, what's the point of asking the question?
Feels very
think
Neo
about it.
Gaiman-y.
But
Hmm.
no promises.
Marvelous. The gentleman you seek is named Asterion. Lovely fellow, quite harmless. Now, if there's nothing else you need.
Tell me about Medusa.
That depends. What can you tell me about Medusa?
That is a rather peculiar subject change.
Her name came up at Aphrodite's party. I'd like to look into it.
You'll find Medusa at a dingy little club appropriately named the Viper's Nest. Give her my regards. Do tell me you'll be careful if you go there, Grace. Medusa is a hideous creature. and should
Gotta be so
treated
mean
as
about
such.
it.
Right?
He's just out here turning people into snakes or stone. I mean,
Right. What is that?
Okay, I give up. How does one treat a hideous creature?
With a great deal of respect, if you know what's good for you. I'll send a package to your domicile that contains directions and the key you'll need to reach the
your
reliquary.
domicile.
I
My,
said no
my
promises.
abode.
Well, if you decide to go, Grace, you'll still need all those things. Say hello to darling Hecate on my behalf, will you?
Alright. Bye, Pan.
Have fun doing whatever it is you're doing here.
Okay, now Persephone. See if she will even talk to us since we
Yeah.
didn't side with her in her argument.
As I recall, Grace, when I said stay or leave, you chose to leave.
That is
If
true.
it wasn't clear, I don't give second chances. Or did you have some other reason for
She looks so
darkening my
shocked.
doorstep?
Charming Grace. Can't I enjoy the club?
Couldn't be here
Well,
for the cool
you are in
music
her
and the
office,
drink.
not in the club.
I definitely need one.
Am I supposed to believe you're here to blow off steam?
Why not? Don't you ever?
Okay.
Ooh, here I thought I
And
could
it's
drink.
that
Ladies,
easy.
You have my respect and admiration.
You'll have an idol's fortitude in time. Now, however, I need to call our little evening to an end.
Will you help me now? Probably not, but
Now that you're sober, can you help me?
anyway, now that I liquored you up a little
I
bit.
don't suppose our bonding time changed your mind even a teensy little bit.
And here's the ulterior motive at last.
Ah, can it
Oh,
be
sorry.
both? I like both.
Grace is both.
Yep.
Let me be frank. I need my allies to be all in. You're not, and you never will be. One last word of advice before you go. If you want to survive, don't look to anyone else for help. Not Apollo, not Pan, not even me. You walked
Freddie,
away
then.
from my
Yes,
offer.
the
and I
one
respect
true
that.
goat.
Make
Rather
your
die.
choices and live with them.
Alright. Good. So that's a way less talking to her.
Yes.
This one. Alright, Freddie.
Girlfriend?
So she can definitely come with us to the
So what's the
reliquary.
news, Miss Muse?
Miss Muse.
Her Marvel's name.
Does a muse have a
Mhm.
proper form of address? I just want to hear what exciting adventures you've been having.
Well, I stopped the goddess of love from killing herself, I guess.
Whoa. Do gods have interventions?
I don't know how to
They're
react to that
nothing
one.
like I thought they would be. Everything else okay, though? Do we know who the killer is yet?
Not just yet, no.
Brandon Flowers from the Killers.
Well, let me know if there's anything I can do. If I have to hustle to become your high priestess, well, so be it.
Okay, well, let's start with Kaz
Yeah,
and Brian,
how
because they're
are-
the only ones that are not about the immediate
How
issue.
are our normie friends doing?
Yeah, how's the band doing?
What are Kaz and Brian up to? You didn't tell them anything, did you?
No, I told them you came home, that you're okay, but that you're having a moment. They send their love.
Should we tell them, do you think?
What for? They have their own problems. Plus, Brian can't keep a secret to save his life, and Kaz is officially homeless.
Is he still crashing on Brian's
It's
couch?
rough.
I mean, I don't
Grace,
know what
did you
his
know that
situation
Brian
is, but it
doesn't
seems
have
kind
a
of
couch,
mean
right?
to make
Just
fun of
some
your friend who
giant
became
beanbag things.
homeless.
Right.
Is Kaz sli-
Freddie, that's one strike against you.
Ooh.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah,
sleeping
it's
together.
cute. They'll tell us when they're ready. But right now, it's best just to not mix them up in this.
We'll stay on the band topic.
Yeah.
I should really apologize about the band. This kind of puts a dent in your plans, doesn't it?
You're right, Grace.
Did we
How
ever
dare
find
you
out what instrument
sabotage
Freddie
my
plays?
dreams. I am so mad I could
I don't think
spit.
so.
You know what
Do
I
we?
mean.
She plays Grace's
Nobody could've seen
heartstrings.
this. I'm
Guitar?
sure, but
Does she? I feel like she
always
accompanies
been
us in the
something with
later
her.
one.
Well, as I see it, there are two ways this goes down. One, neither of us gets back to the band. It was just a thing we did for a while before I founded a cult in your name. Or two, we get back to it, and the
Hell
band
yeah.
now has the Muse as its lead singer. Edge of Elysium becomes the
This is literally
coolest
the
and
plot
most
of,
appropriate
Queen
band
of the
name
Damned.
ever.
Yeah.
Where Lestat
I
comes
still really
back
hate
from
that
the
name.
dead and starts a
Uh-huh.
band
You
named
can't be the
after
source
him.
of all the drama and name the band. Okay, that's the rule.
So, I guess we'll start with what do you seem like you know a lot about the gods. You definitely went through a Greek mythology phase.
Exactly how much do you know about the Greek gods, Freddie?
I know my Greek mythology, but what I've read clearly doesn't line up with who they are today, or who they
I have to
ever
refine
were,
my
maybe.
understanding.
Still might be useful.
Right.
There's got to be some truth to those stories, right?
Maybe? Who do you want to hear about?
Let's start with Apollo.
Start with our sad boy.
Sad
about
boy
Apollo?
number 1.
Okay, so the prophecy stuff checks out. Apollo was god of the sun and light, but also kind of enlightenment in general. He's always talked about as this beautiful and cultured god involved with the arts and the muses, kind of a Renaissance man before the Renaissance.
He's clearly had a rough time since those days.
Well, he was also
Bro
a
is going
giant
He's a
through
look
it.
at her
So you
up.
can list off like a dozen men and women Apollo has had as lovers, and there's probably more.
Weren't they all like that, though?
I mean, Apollo's no Zeus. He never assaulted anyone as a swan. And no, they aren't all like that. Our sun god had a reputation.
He was a fuckboy and now he's a sad boy.
Now he's a sad fuck boy.
Alright,
What do you know
Persephone.
about Persephone?
Honestly, she's the least like her stories. Usually, she's either a victim or just the wife of Hades, or both.
Persephone's
And that's
like
it?
hearing them talk
She
about
was
her. She's like, I'll
kidnapped
kill
by
both of
How
Hades
you.
dare
of the
you.
story?
Pretty much. Her mother was so angry she created winter. But otherwise, Persephone was just your average sweet and virginal fertility goddess.
You're right. That doesn't sound like her at all.
There's no way
Must be
she's a
hard to be
virgin.
defined by
That
this
does
one
not sound
thing
like
that
her.
happened to you thousands of years ago. I'd be pissed if everyone thought my story ended there.
Well, she is pretty pissed. That much is true.
We'll just go through. I don't know if about the idols means you just go through all of them automatically, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna do.
You
Keep
said
going
Pan
through
was
these.
some kind of lust god, right?
Yeah, kind of. Pan's a god of the wild, and I guess that translates into a sort of lustfulness and earthiness, humping nymphs in the forest sort of thing.
And you don't like him.
Honestly, he's
The name of my
exactly
mixtape,
what I'd
Humping
expect him
Nymphs
to
in
be.
the
All the
Forest.
stories say
Yeah.
he's a lech and a beast. The Christians equated him with the devil. Weirdly, he's also the only god who's supposed to have died, though it's never really clear how or why. Anyhow,
He's
there's a great
clearly
statue
false
depicting Pan having
advertising.
sex
Yeah.
with a goat. Next time you see him, you gotta ask him about it.
Will do. Alright, Calliope?
Do you know anything about the Muses? Or Calliope in particular?
Yeah, where are
for
the other
starters,
6?
There were supposed to be 9.
Or, okay,
But
8, I
there are some
guess. I thought there
sources
was
that said there were
7.
only 4, maybe 3. Each of the muses had her specialty. Did you know that Calliope is supposed to be the muse of epic poetry? She inspired the Odyssey.
Wow. I don't even like poetry.
Yeah,
Grace,
instead her
how dare
singing
you.
voice
Wow.
was unmatched. So they got that part right at least.
Did she also lead the ancient Greeks in giant choreographed dance numbers?
No, but she once turned a bunch of snobby princesses into magpies, so there's that.
This is the part where they're like, if you want to read more, we're gonna like hook you with some weird stories.
What about Athena? Is she really supposed to be the goddess of wisdom?
Sure, but mostly that's meant as tactical knowledge. Athena wasn't all sweetness and light. She was a warrior goddess. She was also the goddess of heroes. There are loads of stories where Athena helps guys like Odysseus or Jason or Perseus.
No female heroes back in those days?
Yeah, guess not. Women were the weaker sex, which maybe is why Athena was portrayed as being vindictive. She cursed Medusa, one of her own priestesses. She turned people into spiders, struck them blind, started the Trojan War. It's the whole thing.
Not being as wise as advertised is on brand for her then.
Tactically wise, but
Yeah.
not emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
Maybe not.
zero of that.
Just how many of these gods are there? From what I've heard, lots of idols live around here.
Well, there are tons of minor gods in Greek mythology, hundreds even, depending on how you define them. Oddly, there is never any mention of the word idols in relation to them. Maybe it's like how people worshipped idols?
They should
I
do
sort of assumed it was related to the idol.
like a Japanese
Which is a
spin-off of
Greek
this, and you
word,
could be
but I
like
think it
meeting
means
like a
ghost.
Shinto cat
An
shrine,
image
like
of someone
like the local
actually
cat god.
Yeah.
He's just
Makes sense.
vibing.
Me,
Cat
I'm
god.
amazed at all the big names missing. Not just Zeus and Hades, most of the Olympians seem to be gone. Makes you think about what's been lost. but also what might still be out there.
Like, Poseidon's just out in the middle of the ocean, like...
Yeah, he's just sitting
You think
there.
there might be other gods out there?
Well, there are all those gods the idols say wandered off. We don't know they're dead for sure, right? They could be living it up in Australia. Who would know?
The god commune.
The didgeridoo.
Hundreds of cultures, each with their own
It like cuts
pantheon.
over and they're
So
like
what's so
having
special
like
about the
spring break.
Greeks?
Yeah.
Only their gods are real, right? All those other pantheons could be living in secrecy, just like the idols. And that means they're hidden from each other, too. Oh, they could be everywhere and no one would know.
It's like a whole other secret side to the world.
It's like a secret side to the secret
Cool,
world.
right? I hope I get to meet Ganesha one day. Or maybe Lakshmi?
Yeah, maybe you can become their idol, and then we can be goddesses together.
Yes.
I wonder how much of those stories are true.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I'm giving you the quick version. There are reams of textbooks out there covering all
We've
this.
got like
but
5 of them over
even
there.
They rarely agree with each other.
Really? Nothing definitive?
Ancient Greece was 3,000 years ago, Grace. Not much information survived all that time, if it was even valid to begin with.
We got a lot to talk
Right,
about with
yeah.
Freddie here.
That the idols have managed to remain completely secret all these years. Sure, they have magic and whatnot, but in all this time, nobody's found them out? Athena is that good?
Who says nobody has found them out? The way I see it, it's like UFOs.
Okay, I have to hear this.
Okay, so you have real
All right,
evidence
lay it
that
on me.
UFOs exist and that governments have covered it up and people still wouldn't believe it. Why? Because they'd get laughed at if they admitted it. Imagine the headline. Greek gods exist and are living among us. What website would even run that?
Fox
Weird
News.
conspiracy ones. Yeah.
Ben Shapiro.
You're right.
Joe Rogan.
I don't know if they... Well, he might do it, because he's just a fucking weirdo.
Okay, that's
We
enough
can't
questions for now.
do InfoWars anymore
Sure, I
because
can
that
help
Yeah.
out.
got sold.
Man.
I'll check back with you soon,
Got
Freddie.
destroyed
Time for
because he's an
more
asshole.
mystery solving.
Mm-hmm. Alright.
Okay. So what do you want to do?
Yeah, are we gonna go to the reliquary first, or why can we talk to Apollo again?
I don't know. We'll talk to him if you want.
Well, okay, I guess.
And he might just go there and be like, I can't tell you anything. And
Yeah.
leave.
Hey.
Hello again. I can't remember the last time I had guests.
I
so
can't
frequently.
remember if in our first
I did
playthrough
tell
we
you
did
could
Medusa or
discuss
the
your memories
reliquary
in the Eidolon
first.
more in
I'm gonna
depth
do
after
the
party.
reliquary first, I
Did
think.
you
Okay.
have any questions or?
I can't remember either.
I mean, I can check pretty fast.
Okay, we do have some new questions, I guess.
When all these memories start to return, will I feel different?
Well, let's see. It starts as dreams you'll have of places you've never been, people you've never met, fleeting images, feelings.
We definitely
And
went to the
you're
reliquary
awake.
first last time.
Okay.
You'll be eating breakfast and suddenly recall when you last ate something.
And there's the
similar
comment
in
where
the
someone said
17th
it's
century.
crazy to go there
The only
before
difficult part is
Medusa.
that
Really?
Yeah. I
eventually
don't know
it'll be
why they
hard
were
to
saying that,
differentiate
but
between
Oh.
your life and all those other lives. They blend together.
It does sound confusing.
A little, yeah. And not all the memories will be good ones. It can take time to process.
You said it becomes hard to differentiate your life from the others. How hard, exactly? It'll still be me, right?
Grace, would you say that who you are is at least in part due to your
He's like, do you
experiences?
want to have
does
a
sound
conversation
fair.
about consciousness?
Uh-huh.
You'll have a lot more experiences. They won't feel like someone else's either. It will feel like you did all those things. They will shape who you are now, just as they shaped Calliope and all those who came before her. The good news is, you won't get all the memories. Each time we pass on, the older memories fade.
We'll save the dying one for later.
Yeah.
Wait, how is it good that old memories start to fade?
We're many thousands of years old, Grace. If all of those memories returned with perfect clarity, you'd drown in them.
Yeah, but doesn't that mean you've all forgotten so much?
Tell me, how much do you remember from when you were a small child?
I mean, they probably remember
Bits
them
and pieces, I guess.
more than most people.
Not much.
Yeah, but I mean, did I remember, like,
the same for us.
you know, the primordial
The
Earth
further
being
I
formed
turn
and
to
shit?
the more blurry it becomes. I remember the important bits, but little else. Some of the really old memories. There's so many mortal stories that get mixed up with them, things my previous selves learned as legends. It becomes hard to tell. It takes time, Grace. You'll remember all the lives you've led, but at a
Tears
pace
gonna
you can
explode.
handle, and nothing more.
If you hear the explosion, it's the pressure cooker in the background. You
Smells good though.
It does smell good.
How many times have you died? Can I ask that?
Well, we call it passing on, meeting the Eidolon, and it's fine. I've passed on 12 times that I can recall.
So your name isn't really Apollo.
Most recently
Yes,
it was
that's
Lucas.
That was my
Neighbors.
neighbors.
Everyone Lucas ever knew is gone, however, so these days I prefer Apollo again.
Lucas?
He looks like a Lucas.
Seems weird to think of you as a Lucas.
What about a Lucius?
It was weird for him, too. Much like yourself, Lucas becoming Apollo was somewhat of a surprise.
Sounds like there's a story there.
Tell me about
I feel like
Lucas.
we didn't get this
Yeah,
last
I don't think we
time.
did.
Tell me about this Lucas. How did he become you? Or is it how you became Apollo?
Apollo had taken to surfing. He left
Of
the city
course
without
he did.
permission and roamed the coast looking for
That seems like an
Well, I'm not
Apollo,
sure.
a hobby to get
whatever
into
it
for
was.
some reason.
He found it one night when a giant wave took him down. He was drowning, and I thought, this is finally it. But it wasn't. Lucas saw Apollo
Sports car
struggling
drive
and swam
by,
out to save him.
ruining Apollo's
He pulled
beautiful
us
story.
ashore. But it was too late. It took a long time to realize what happened. I didn't return to the city until years later. By then, everyone thought I was Apollo's chosen successor.
So no trial for you, huh?
This seems unfair.
Yeah, that doesn't
Without
seem
memories or
fair.
Anyone to guide me, but no. Nothing like that.
What if Lucas hadn't been there?
Wait, what would have happened if Lucas hadn't tried to rescue you? What if no one was there when you...
When I died, then the Eidolon of Apollo's line would have ended forever, I think.
You think?
There have been stories about Eidolons that survive for a time and go wandering. That's probably all they are, though. Stories. It's not something we've had much opportunity to study, but normally death without passing on is how an idol really dies. Forever.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for that.
Some-
Something to
Very
consider.
Some
Assuming I'll even
more
have
Apollo
time to
lore.
worry
Yeah.
about it, what with the trial coming.
Hopefully this eases whatever concerns you might have had. Anything else you'd like to discuss while you're here?
Holy.
there's so much to say.
Okay. Tell me about the
I'd
idols,
like to
I
know
guess?
a little more about the idols. I am one now, right?
You are. What would you like to know?
Well, what are we? Where did we come from? If
Not
an
that
idol is
yo.
a soul that moves from person to person, it must have started somewhere, right?
The short answer is, we don't know.
We've
I
just
think far
existed
enough back I
forever.
can remember bits and pieces. I remember my first Pythian games, the day the idols split in two over Troy, the day my first son died. But before that, nothing. None of us do. I vaguely recall the very first Apollo many thousands of years ago, but was he the original? Did
Was he hot?
appear out of the ether?
That's the important question
I couldn't
here.
tell you.
I mean, I guess I'll ask
We'll just
this.
keep asking
Yeah.
stuff, I guess.
Isn't it strange to not know where you come from? For all you know, the idols could be aliens.
I mean, that seems like the most
Interesting.
likely
The notion that there might be some other place far away where we're the norm is comforting. Sadly, our memories are filled with blanks. There was a war with beings we called the Titans. A terrible conflict where half our number died, yet do I remember a single battle. The last was after Rome fell. Zeus called us together to relay the news, told us to prepare for battle. And then, in the blink of an eye, I was in the 16th century. What made us forget 1,000 years? What happened during that time? We don't know.
The Gap. They
Athena
spent their whole
calls
time
that
working at
period
that store.
The Gap, yeah.
The Gap.
Very similar to the plot of One Piece.
The Gap you mentioned. What was that like? Did you just wake up one day, or...
I know I was alive. I passed on my eidolon who knows how many times, yet the moment I woke up, as you call it, all memory of that period was gone. It was Athena who found us. I was in France, I think. She came to my farm, and the moment I laid eyes on her, I just knew.
There's somebody at this game studio
It
who
all
knows
came
the
back.
answer, and they're just like, I'm never going to tell
Someone
them.
do that
Never
to
They're
us?
going to live their
Anyone.
whole life
Did
wanting to
we
know what
start into the
happened.
winds for 1,000 years on purpose? It's a mystery.
What about Athena? I mean, she's the one who found you, right? She must have been aware.
Athena claims she awoke on her own and spent the next century locating the other idols. We've pieced together
A
very little
likely
of the
story.
gap or of our origins. We simply live with it. Gods we may be, but I'm afraid we don't have all the answers.
Okay.
Oh boy. You say you have a son? Oh. I gotta
Earlier
click
you
it.
mentioned
Yep.
your son dying. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, they're called
Can idols
demigods,
have
Grace.
children?
You would know this if you paid attention
It was
in English
rare, but-
101.
Yes. Back in ancient times, some of them even became idols themselves.
Some of the idols are actually family then.
Not anymore. Most of our children met terrible ends. A gift of the fates, perhaps. I don't know. The
Grace
ones
is gonna
who
be like,
weren't
who's the
idols.
fates?
Yeah, who are the Morai?
It's hard. Watching your children grow old and die. Never understanding why they can't have the same immortality you do. Why you can't grant it to them. My first
Well,
son
you could pass your idol
is
on,
why
right?
I'm
To,
not
you
permitted
could give
in
it to
Hades
them,
anymore.
but then you would die.
Yeah.
Let's simply say that most idols have stopped having children and maybe leave it at that.
Oh, jeez, Louise. Okay, this is just
This
a
is
lore
lore.
episode.
Yeah, yeah.
now.
But
The lore.
I don't think we got this
Seems to
last
have
time,
had a
so this is
huge
good.
I
effect
don't
on
know. I
everything.
know I remember some
I
of
don't
these
think we would've
details,
Yeah.
but I feel like we got them
otherwise.
later.
Yeah, and we didn't get as
It was
much.
home.
From Aphrodite's song, I know Ares betrayed everyone. What did you do?
He was like, I was too busy partying. Oh, never mind.
I caused it.
Ronnie
I
fucked
foresaw
up.
what was going to happen, so I tried to prevent it. I told Ares. I figured if the god of war couldn't stop what was to come, then
And that's why he betrayed everyone.
he decided the idols were a lost cause. Because I told him we were.
Prophecies suck.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one.
Yeah.
Has your power ever helped anyone?
Okay,
Even
that's
once?
not what I
On
said.
occasion. The fates are cruel.
Apollo,
however.
are your powers
you
actually
don't like
useless?
being
Like, at
outdoors.
all? Like,
My time afterwards was spent helping the survivors, keeping us on the move. If Hephaestus hadn't intervened, we would have all been captured.
And he's...
Oh, gone now, we assume, like so many others. We are nothing more than refugees from a war long over, Grace.
okay, tell me more about you.
I'd like to know a little more about you. all I know is you.
All I know is you live
have
like
an
a fucking
oracle,
animal.
Damn, bitch, you live like
I'm not
this?
sure what to tell you. One day has bled into the next for so long, I feel like I've been lost in the spaces in between.
Wow, that's a bit dramatic.
Yeah, well, it comes naturally. Music and the arts were once under my purview as a god.
How did that get decided? Did you have a big hat full of pieces of paper and you all picked at random?
Sounds
No,
fun,
we
but also would
chose them
suck
for
if you got
ourselves.
something like
Some,
stupid.
at least. Others were given to us by our priests. We collected godly responsibilities like marbles.
People collect marbles?
Oh,
They used to.
Or, whatever it is mortals collect these days. Cars, perhaps?
He's like, I don't
The
know.
point
Pokemon
is,
cards.
we took our godly duties very seriously.
You must have been very different back when you were a proper god.
I think most of us were. We saw ourselves as, I don't know, teachers. Mortals were our students, and we guided them to enlightenment. We thought we were special, infallible. I was as magnificent as the sun, and I surrounded myself with those who basked in my radiance.
That doesn't sound like you.
Yeah, I was arrogant. If there was a man or woman I desired, then I had to have them, or there would be consequences. You
Cassandra.
wouldn't have liked me.
Yep.
I wouldn't have liked me.
I think we know this a little bit.
But,
It was something like he was, because he knew what was going to happen with Hades, right? Or something.
maybe?
Was it hard for the idols to come to the new world?
I mean, I'll ask
It's
it.
just a
Yeah,
place
eventually.
like any other, isn't it?
I don't think it was the place so much as the condition we were in. Shell-shocked, one might say. Our entire world had been turned upside down. Suddenly, we had rules. Secrecy was paramount, and no one was permitted to leave the city. Some, like my sister Artemis,
She is the god of, like, wild places.
couldn't abide it.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Goddess of the hunt. And a
Probably
wild thing
BFFs with
herself.
Pan.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, she hates Pan because he
She left, I think.
corrupts her nymphs.
Yep.
Faded away without a word. As many did in the early days here.
She's probably out
Later,
there
Athena
somewhere.
became even more strict. For our own good, of course, but it hasn't been easy. This city has never felt like home so much as a temporary shelter.
Okay.
So what is Persephone's beef with you exactly? Is it just about what Hades did to her?
That's no small thing.
It seems more personal than that.
I mentioned how Persephone's kidnapping almost meant war between Olympus and Hades, yes? Well, while this was all going on, Persephone managed to escape the underworld, and I'm the one she encountered first.
Uh-oh.
Hades was hot on
boy.
her heels.
Grace is like, I know
And I
where
had a
this is
choice.
going.
Either do battle with Hades and start the war right then and there, or let him take her back. Zeus would have had my head if I had sparked a war. Yet all I still think of are Persephone's eyes as Hades smugly took back his prisoner. It's not my finest moment.
Yeah. I mean, they did give you, like, a impossible choice, but...
Yeah. You ever tried therapy, bro?
Apollo, have you ever tried
Special god
I don't know.
therapist.
Yeah.
talking to someone about
Who could he
how
talk to?
you
Like,
feel?
I will never understand this modern fascination with therapy and focusing on one's feelings.
It might help. You never know.
Yes, I've tried it. There was one I used to speak to. Hecate enchanted him never to reveal what I told him. I don't know that unburdening myself to the man helped. It
Yeah,
wasn't exactly trained for
you know,
this
I don't
sort
have a lot of
thing.
experience with this
It's
kind
kinda
of
hard
thing.
to relate
Right.
to a god, sure.
I do appreciate the thought. But I'm afraid muddling through is as good as it gets for us.
Alright.
finally, tell me
A
about
little
Clyde.
about
Tell me more about
Calliope.
Calliope. you and her were good friends, right?
For centuries, we were far more. I was the god of the arts, and the muses were my constant companions. We went everywhere together.
World tour!
They had many names.
I mean, I guess
but the three most common
sun
were
is always on a
Talia,
world tour.
and Calliope. The sisters of beauty, I called them, though they weren't always women.
I never thought of that. Do idols change gender a lot?
Most of us seek out inheritors who are like us, I suppose, but not all. Calliope, in fact, was a man in her previous incarnation. Christoph, I think his name was. A poet Calliope adored. I was surprised when she made him a muse.
Marlowe? Christopher Marlowe?
I don't know.
Who did Calliope become after that poet, Christoph?
You have to realize we're already into the period where Calliope and I weren't really speaking. She showed up one day in her new form, the one you met. An opera singer whose name she never revealed. We fought, as I recall. I told her she couldn't pass on every time she met an artist she fell in love with. Eventually she'd forget everything about who we were and where we came from. She said she'd rather forget than wallow in old memories like I or the other idols were doing. It was time to wake up and make the best of our situation.
Interesting.
Calliope
Yeah.
was an
So they
idealist
must not
without
die
compromise.
when they pass
Always.
on. Because otherwise it would be hypocritical
She
for her
hated
to
what
not
we'd
approve
become.
of what Aphrodite was
Yeah,
doing.
yeah.
What I'd become. She wasn't wrong.
From how you describe it, you and
I
Calliope
mean, that is
fought
literally
a
what he
lot.
just said, Grace.
As often as we saw each other.
Grace is a little slow on the
Which
update
became
sometimes.
less
Sometimes she
as
just
time
needs
went
you to
on.
reiterate the information. It's okay.
However, she fought with everyone. Calliope hated the idols being kept secret. She and Athena would get into screaming matches over the rules, and it got so I could no longer protect her. She moved out of Olympus years ago and kept to herself. I just assumed she was wrapped up with some new artist when I got the news.
Do you regret not making up with her?
Every day I think about our last conversation and what I should have said or done differently. The problem with immortality is that you think you have all the time in the world.
That and, like, you'll be there when the sun expands and
All
like,
the time in the
consumes the world.
To worry about everything.
It wasn't only fighting with Calliope, right? Surely there were good things too.
Is that how it sounds? No. She was marvelous. A force to be reckoned with if there ever was one. In the darkest days during the war, it was her songs that gave us hope. She kept Aphrodite alive through sheer determination, I think.
Just like
Calliope
us.
cared. About us, about art, about people she'd only just met. It was her greatest strength as well as her greatest weakness.
I wonder why she picked me. I don't
I
feel
don't
like I'm
know.
any
She
of
just
those
wandered
things.
into your.
Hmm.
You underestimate yourself, Grace. I see a lot of her in you. She chose well.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, where'd the other 8 go?
Alright, what about
happened
the
to
others?
muses? You mentioned 2 others. Were they lost in the war?
Cleo perished centuries before. The victim of an obsessed writer she'd spurned. He kept her in a
Fucked up.
cage as his personal muse.
Ugh, that's pretty dark.
It was. By the time we found her, she was already... Well, it's enough to say her captor didn't survive her for long. Talia, however, was lost to us on the very last day of the war. We were about to leave on the ship, but she just...
I do remember
Never
that from the
showed up.
first one.
Do you know what happened to her?
We never found out. I worried for years, even hired people to look, but as far as I can tell, she up and vanished into smoke that day. The war had ground her down. I was upset, but not surprised.
Okay.
That's all I can think of for now. I'll see you around.
Of course. I look forward to it.
BFF.
That was a lot more lore that we didn't have from our first
Yeah.
playthrough. So, do you think It's been 45 minutes. We didn't really get any music or anything.
Like full chapters.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I was like, maybe we stop here. We have a lore episode, and the next time we went to the reliquary first last time. Is that what I said?
Yeah.
So maybe we do Medusa.
Which I don't understand why people would say, why did we do that? Because it literally says nothing left to do but go to the reliquary. So, like, obviously the game was, like, pointing for me to go there, so that's probably why I did it. But we can do Medusa's first next time.
Mm-hmm. Alright. I do remember Medusa's little demon voice, so.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's not a super exciting episode, but a super
got a lot of talking done, yeah.
Alright, we'll be back.